Okay, as we start into Photoshop, we're going to see some different interfaces, whether you have Photoshop Elements or Photoshop CS6 or the Creative Cloud. But there is some commonality, and so you're just going to have to spend a little bit of time searching out some of these different things. But we're going to start off by opening up a document and go to File, New. We're going to talk about this for a second here. Most of the time there is some presets. This one has a photo preset, and within that photo preset we also have some other presets like landscape 8x10 or portrait 8x10. There are some other presets here that we could use US paper. We could also make for film and video or the web. So in this case what we're going to start off with is photo and portrait 8x10. As we come down through here, we can also see the resolution, and that is 300. That's what the resolution we want for a document that's going to be printed, either commercially printed or printed on our home computer. If we were going to do something for the web, that would probably be 72, or for some video maybe. We also have the ability to change different kinds of units, and we can make it in pixels or centimeters, and we may be getting into pixels later on in the course, but right now we're going to stick with inches. The color mode is important also, as RGB color. That is going to be the color mode that we're going to stick with if we're going to print on our home computer printer, or we're going to do anything for the web that's going to actually be viewed on a monitor. If we were going to go to a commercial printer, we'd first off want to check with the commercial printer to see what color mode they want it in, but if you can see here, we could go to a couple of different ones, whether grayscale, which would just be black and white, or CMYK, and CMYK would be the commercial setting for printing commercially. We're not going to mess with anything else here. Background contents is just going to give me a white background to start off with. Now I could change that if I wanted to, and we're not going to mess with the color profiles or the square pixels. So I hit OK, and now I've got my my document here. One of the first things that I'd like to do, though, is have my rulers up here, and you can see rulers. If they're not up here, we can go to View, and there's a lot of different things here that if you'd like to see that there aren't there, you're just going to have to kind of spend some time in here. But my rulers are check marked on. I take them off, they go off. And that's going to be important. That kind of reminds me of the size, and I can clearly see that it says 8 inches in the horizontal dimension and 10 in the vertical dimension. Okay, so now there's a bunch of palettes over here on the right-hand side, and definitely in Photoshop proper and Creative Cloud, these palettes are dockable, and so I can left-click on the little tab and drag them around, and if I wanted to configure this some other way, I could pull them out here and I could make my own configuration. I can also say that if I don't want my swatches, I can close those, or my channels, and we'll find out what all those are later. We can also click up here on the top of the menu and drag it back over and dock it back into this menu area. If I really get things messed up, and I can pull these out here and just drag them all over the place. If I get them messed up, I can go to Window and Workspace and Reset Essentials. So you're going to have to see whether or not Photoshop Elements will do this, but definitely the people that are going to be using Photoshop, this is a possibility. And I can hit Reset. I can also, if for some reason I don't use this adjustments, I can get rid of that, and I can get rid of maybe the styles, and and I only want to have my layers and channels and paths. I can come up here to Window, Workspace, and I can make a new workspace, and I can call it whatever I'd like to. And so I have a Kurt and a Kurt's photo, and so that's the kind of palette that I like to use. I have, this is for painting, and I'm going to have my swatches already up and some styles and some different things. But if I want to go back to my essentials, I can just click on that and I come back to what's kind of defaulted. So that's kind of the beginning here. One of the first things, though, that we're going to be using, and I want you to look for this before that first class, is layers. And Photoshop is kind of interesting, and a lot of Adobe products, and now a lot of products, any kind of graphics products, works on this concept of layers. And so we have a base layer that is white in this case, but we can add new layers, and this is a little button here that we can create a new layer. And so if we think about layers as like a white sheet of paper, and then on top of that white sheet of paper we have a piece of clear transparent plastic, and then multiple pieces of transparent plastic. So I could have another layer and another layer, and I can expand this a little bit. And so I could have 3, 4. I can't find any documentation of how many layers it will support there. In Photoshop 6, about 8 years ago, it would support 99 layers. So I'm sure that's even greater now. So what the nice thing about this is if I do something on layer 2 and I don't like it, I can throw layer 2 away by clicking and dragging, or I could have right-clicked and deleted a layer. But I can throw away that one layer with whatever I have on it, and I don't have to change anything on my other layers. So if you're really disciplined enough to make sure that every different object or every different kind of sequence we're going to do is on a new layer, then you're going to have a lot of flexibility so that we can rearrange layers in the stacking order, or we can just throw some away. So that's the very basics. I want you to kind of look that over, see if you can find the layers palette, see if you can find where you would create a new layer. Photoshop has about 3 different ways of doing almost everything, or maybe even more than that. I could go up here to layer, and I can create a new layer as well. So a lot of times I have my layers palette open, and this is just about as easy. But you can see up here, if I go to layer, it also, I can click on this button, or I can use a shortcut key. It's Shift-Control-N. This is not one of the shortcuts that I memorized, but maybe in your workflow you might want to memorize that. So we'll talk about shortcut keys later, but you want to do that with your left hand while you're keeping your right hand on the mouse. So that'll be it for this beginning tutorial, and we'll move on to some more things in the next ones.